You're listening to IChampionHealth Chats, the podcast dedicated to improving health for all in Lexington, Kentucky. Each episode will connect you with champions in our community who will share powerful stories, expert insights, resources to explore, and ways you can promote health for all. Let's lock in and learn how we can champion health together.
Excuse me, Mr. Gio.
Yeah, what's up?
What does it take to become a champion?
You gotta dream, you gotta think, you gotta act, you gotta ball, you gotta bleed, and most important, you gotta believe.
You gotta dream
like a champion,
think
like a champion,
act
like a champion, say it,
I'm a champion.
like a champion,
Bleed.
like a champion,
Look in the mirror and believe.
you're a champion,
You gotta dream
like a champion,
think
like a champion,
act
like a champion, say it, I'm a champion, like a champion,
Bleed.
like a champion.
Look in the mirror and believe.
Good morning and welcome, listeners and viewers, to another episode of IChampionHealth Chats. Today we are at the Charles Young Center, located in the East End community. I am your host, Gio Gibson. I am the founder of Operation Making a Change, and my co-host today, joining me, is Bethany Williams.
Hi, I'm Bethany Williams, and I'm a mental health therapist and LCSW. I am also a community health champion through the University of Kentucky, IChampionHealth.
All right. Good morning, Bethany, and thank you for joining us today. All right. So our special guest today joining us from Lexington, Kentucky right now is Jermaine Dunn. Jermaine and I, we met a few weeks ago. Jermaine has a very powerful story that he wants to share with our listeners and viewers. It's a very sensitive topic, but we want to welcome you today. Good morning, Jermaine. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on today, and I'm ready to share my story.
All right, man. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate you being here and your willingness to share. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Of course, my name is Jermaine Dunn. I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. I moved here, I think when I was like 15. And I've graduated from Tates Creek High School, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, from the Midwest. Okay.
So you've been pretty much in Lexington for about since you were 15.
Since I was 15, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you kind of grew up here, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit.
I've been telling people when they say you from here, I'll just say yeah. It's been so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you might as well. You're Lexingtonian now. This is all.
25 here versus 15 there, and like I'm here.
Right.
Okay. What does community mean to you? How do you define or describe it?
Community, basically, community could be a bunch of things. Depends on the group of gender, race, whatever you want to be in. It could be the East End community, the people that live here, or you could have a group of working people for a cause like you have.
Right.
This is like your community. Mm-hmm. But like to me, it just means a likeness, a gathering of people to support a cause.
Absolutely. And then we have a random fun question from the card deck.
All right. This is where it gets a little fun right here, man. Random cards.
That is the instruction card. If you could be any athlete for a single game, who would you choose?
Oh, man, that's easy. That's easy. Now, anybody who knows me already know what I'm about to say.
Michael Jordan.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. Okay.
Yeah.
Me, I would have to go with Michael Jordan. You know, I grew up in the Illinois area.
Yeah.
You know, watching Michael Jordan play basketball as a kid, and he was just always fun to watch.
I actually had a chance to meet LeBron one time, and that's why I've been such a big fan. He was such a really nice guy.
Okay.
It was me, my son, and my two little cousins. We met him outside of the Hyatt downtown.
Okay. What about you, Bethany? Who would that be?
I think it'd be kind of cool to meet Shaq.
Okay. Larger than life guy.
Yeah.
A big figure, Shaq. Yeah, Shaq is a big kid, man. I know that would be hella fun just to have Shaq in the room.
No, I would. I'm sure it'd be super charismatic and entertaining the whole time.
Okay. All right. So let's get into our topic. Today's topic is mental health. Now, Jermaine, you've recently had a tragic loss in your family. And to what extent are you comfortable with sharing some details or some, what happened in your life not too long ago? But could you tell us a little more about that journey up until this point?
I mean, you guys comfortable with hearing the story, like that day?
To whatever extent you're comfortable, yes.
Mhm.
So it was November 22nd. I was I was in my house, actually getting prepared to go to Indianapolis the next day for Thanksgiving. I was actually prepping a turkey to be deep fried.
Mm.
And I received a phone call saying that, have I talked to my son? I said, yeah, I talked to him just like a couple hours ago. He said he was finishing up an essay and he'll be home. Now I come to believe that the essay was his final letter.
Wow.
And that the phone call said that he made a video and he sent out a group chat about ending his life. And I'm like, no way, he was just fine. Like, so I run out the house, I get in the car and I'm praying to God all the way there, like, come on, like, please, 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 please. Like, there's no way this is where it's at. Like, I just talked to him, he was fine. He was at the house 3 days ago, he was fine. So the place that where it took place at was at Red Mile and on the infield. And I'm receiving numerous of phone calls on my way there. And I'm breaking all the traffic laws trying to get there. And then someone said that he's with the police, like, and I was like, okay, he's okay. When I get there, I assume it didn't take 2 minutes for me to realize that, something's not right. I remember hopping the fence, running, I hop another fence, and I seen my little cousin. In the way she was crying, in my mind, I said, my son's dead. That's not a cry of that he's hurt. That's a cry that he's gone. And I seen his best friend. He looked at me and he couldn't stare at me and he looked away. And then his mom comes over to me and she just like, walk with me. And I said, Alina, where's my son? She said, just walk with me. And I was like, is my son dead? Can you just tell me? And she said, let's just go talk to police. And I remember as I see, it was dark. When I got up there, I seen his body. And I asked the police, like, just tell me, is my son dead? And he said, yes, sir. My world was shattered at that moment. Then his mom and his younger brother, he has 2 brothers, and it was the younger one. He's 14, he'll be 15 in next week, actually. And he's like, get him off the ground, get him off the ground. Like, it's cold, get him off the ground. And I'm like, I don't know what to say, because they're coming to me like, Jermaine, what happened? Where's Cameron? And I have to tell his mom, like, he's dead. And then the cry, I'll never forget it. The holler his brother made and all his friends. It was truly the most unbelievable moment I could ever experience. That was my best friend. Like, I raised him practically by myself from when he came out until he left out. And that I wouldn't wish any of this on anybody. And then to find out from the corner what happened, because I didn't know if somebody hurt him, or that's what I was wanting. I'd rather have somebody else to blame than him, because he took himself from me. And that's the It's been the biggest thing to deal with. Like, why didn't you want to be with us? You know? And then from there, I knew, like I told you a couple of days ago, I remember looking at this hotel, Never Spring Hill Suites. I'll never forget it. My son's body's over here. And I just knew at that moment, I was like, my son's name won't be in vain. This won't be the last of it. Like I said, it wasn't 20 minutes after he was gone. I knew that I was there, that I knew that I needed to do something going forward about this.
Man, that's tough, man. Just listening to the details leading up to this. You know, you said it was a group chat. Now, who's all involved with that group chat?
It was a group chat with his friends.
Okay.
And he was just letting everybody know that he was saying bye.
Was there something in that group chat that stood out the most to you? Not saying that, I'm pretty sure all of it did, but is there anything particular in that chat that you always hold on to and grab?
He said he lived 20 long years.
Mm.
What's long to you? 20, you was just getting started, man. You really hadn't even started. He wasn't even out of my house 90 days. He was just getting going, you know. To say 20 long years, like he was tired. Like, no. And that he said he had nothing else to live for. And I'm thinking, like, you know, I know your mom, your brothers, like, not to sound selfish, but like, bro, every day, we woke up to each other every day. I wasn't enough. You know, and that's what I'm stuck with, and that's what hurts. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm everything, because it's like, it was a selfish act. He felt that he was solving a problem, but he was just creating a whole bigger one. And I do feel like today that if he knew the impact that the choice that he made, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Because
the things that he was going through would have been solved. I was his problem solver, and I would have solved all of it. Gladly to solve everything. And I just wish that he gave me a chance to fix it. Because I don't care what it was not worth him not being here.
Yeah. Well, Jermaine, well, that's tough, man. You know, just sitting next to you right now, you know, I can feel the pain from you right now. But I can also feel the strength and the courage that you have to move forward and do something about what happened in your life. There are a lot of listeners and viewers that will hear this and watch this episode, and especially parents, more so. How are you coping with this? What are some skills you are using to cope with this tragedy, man? What can you say to the parents and viewers and listeners?
It's a balance. Like, I need people, then I need me. Mm-hmm. You know, so when I need to talk, I talk. When I need to be by myself and not cut off the world, I do that. So I just take it as it comes. Like, how I describe to people is every day is an emotional ride that I don't know where it's taking me. So when I wake up every day, it's like a new emotional adventure. Am I going to have a good day? Am I going to have a bad day? But I take it, like my uncle told me, to take it, give yourself some time every day. Don't dwell on it. Soak it up for about an hour or two, move on from it. So I've been trying to do that. It does work. Like I cry every day. And after I cry, it's almost like a release of emotion to get that off. Like I feel like it builds up. And sometimes I tell people I just need a good cry. Once I cry, like I'll be okay. So I stay busy. I think positive. I still talk to him every day like he's there in my house. I look at his pictures. I kiss his pictures. I talk to him. I just honestly act like he's still there. I know he's not, but he did say in his letter that all you have to do is like look up and talk to me. I'm still here and I'll still help you. Although I may not be able to answer, I'm listening. And so I take it as that. And so I talk to him like he's listening.
Wow.
And that helps. And sometimes I feel like he's answering me. And so I feel like what I'm doing, he knows what I'm doing. And I feel like that he's proud of me regardless. And I don't think he came to me in my dream for the first time last week. And he came home like, that's what he did. That's what this thing he does is, I'm a hugger. So I always hug him, tell him I love him. And Gio, brother, I could see it. He looked me right in my face and he said, "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean it like that."
Wow.
And I feel like it was his mom had the same dream 2 days before that. And I asked him to come to me because I miss him so much. Like, I can't get you here. If I can get you there, at least I can tell you how much I love you, how much you meant to me, and that like what you did wasn't right and how the house is affecting us. And I truly, in my heart, think he's regretting it, And yeah.
Man, that's tough, man. I'm a father myself, so it's one thing that being a parent, man, we always want to protect our children and guide them in the best way possible. But I know you're working on some projects in honor of your son Cam to keep his memory and his legacy alive.
Yes, sir.
You're starting a nonprofit.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that project and what can the people look forward to?
So through this, I would like to. I don't want anybody else to feel how I felt. And like statistics show, like an average of like 4,000 a day attempt suicide or commit suicide. And the highest range of that is between males between 18 and 20. And if I could even lower that number by any 1 to whatever, to not have parents feel like I felt, like I had to pick out a casket for my child. They slide a book over and you say, "What do you like?" I don't like none of that.
Wow.
Oh, this plot over here, this where this grass is, this shade, like they make death seem like it's a business. And it sucks because that was like my son. And in his memory, I'm starting a nonprofit. I'm calling it the Long Live 3 Foundation, focusing on mental health and suicide prevention in hopes that no one else, if they can hear my story and see how strong I'm trying to be through this, and I want to give kids a platform to speak openly, but I do feel like I need the parents' help as much as I need the kids to talk.
Of course.
Because I feel like at the end of the day, my son, me and him were like this. And the reason why he didn't talk to me, it was because he didn't want me to stop him. His decision in his mind was final. And he knew that if he talked to me, I was going to change his mind. Wow. So what I need to do is have kids like to have the conversation with their parents, to talk, and I need their parents to be open, honest, non-judgmental, and just listen to their kids. Let their kids be who they're going to be. Because at the end of the day, it started with the parent, right? So everything needs to go through the parent, because if once it reached the peers, they're done. You're done. once your child can't talk to you and his peers is his parent, that relationship is over. Not that it can't be repaired, but it has to start at home and give your kids an open platform to speak open, honestly, without judgment in the home so they can feel comfortable talking. And that's what the message I want to give to kids and parents. Talk. Parents, listen, don't judge. If your kid, because listen, if my kid was a janitor or a president, he's alive. And I'm happy about that.
Right.
So whatever your kid turns out to be, accept that, help them. You know, if he wants to sell lemonade across the street, bring him sugar and lemons. That may not be your ideal career for your child, but let that be that and help them. That way, whenever they're struggling, they know I got my dad, I got my mom I can count on and I can go to. Because without that, they're going to be lost. And when they start reaching for answers in their friends, they don't know nothing.
Yeah.
It's over.
You and I had a phone conversation last week, and it's still stuck with me, what you said. You said that instead of being a dictator to our kids, we should listen more or we should support more. How would you, with your own personal experience, with your own son and your family, how would you advise family and friends to check in with each other and kind of deal with each other on certain levels? That was powerful what you said to me. I actually took that advice.
Literally, like, just talk. Just ask questions. Because, like, the loudest person in a room is normally the weakest one.
Okay.
So the kid that's probably cracking the most jokes, that's the one I won't go talk to. You know, man, you okay? Because, like, I know Robin Williams, he committed suicide as well. And then I don't know it verbatim, but I remember reading one of his quotes. Like, he kept people happy because he didn't want them to feel how he felt inside. And then I looked at my son's life, man. He was the life of the party, jokester. He was a nut.
Yeah.
Like, every day was a comedic ride with him.
Right.
And I look at that, like, how can someone be so happy and go through what they did? It's like, man, like, even the happy ones are sad. And the ones that's quiet, it could be just as bad, but the ones that are loud, those are the ones that probably need the most help. So, like, just trying to figure out the type of kid, the type of individual, the type of dynamic this kid lives in, and try to figure out how to reach this person, because this person, how he laughs, that's his outlet. And him over here quiet, that's his outlet. And if we can figure out how to mesh the two together, and like I said, just figure it out and just listen. Just listen. Simple. Just listen.
Yeah.
And don't judge. And whatever they're asking for, whatever they say, listen and help.
We're going to hear more from Bethany. Going into this next question, I want to ask you, as a community, how can we, or what can we do better to address mental health amongst community and peers and our kids, our families? What do you want to see? What changes?
A consistent conversation. Maybe you have food drives, you have different fundraisers, you have all these different things that people do to put on for, like you do with your nonprofit, but do it for this and just broadcast it more, show the statistic more, show, like, just be open about this, because it's like looking at like 1.7 million people attempt suicide like a year. That's 1.7 million bloodlines shattered.
That's a lot of numbers. I didn't know that.
And so just to, like, exactly. So I think if people knew that, and I think if people knew, like, what that means, that's just, when you gone, you gone. That's it. It's over. Death is final. And just to bring awareness of how high that number is, and then just promote talking and having the conversation, make it known, like, a statistic of LeBron James. Everybody know if they watch basketball, his career averages around 28 points.
Mm-hmm.
That should be read just like 4,000 people commit suicide a day.
So more awareness.
Yes.
Shining the light more on these topics that seem to be kind of dim in our
Mhm.
community. Like I said, that number you said, 1.something million. I wasn't aware of how large that number is. So we appreciate you sharing that.
I think a lot of people in Kentucky maybe have the idea that it couldn't happen to them because Kentucky is considered like small state, kind of country background, things like that. But, I've worked with people all over the state, thanks to telehealth, you can do that now. But, I've had middle schoolers that have had, classmates or people they go to school with complete suicide. And that's just kind of something we shouldn't have to even be thinking about.
And you're right, because I thought, like, when I look back, hindsight, like say hindsight's always 20/20, and I look back like, man, like, I wish I would have had the conversation with my son about what taking his life would do to me. Never did that. Never thought I should. Never, like my son's like, go kill himself. It's crazy. Only crazy people do that. No.
Do you think any of it is, I know you mentioned like the statistics for men are a lot higher. Do you think any of that is just that there's so much stigma around men talking about any kind of emotion, any kind of feeling?
I think men, pride, there's a lot of pride in that. Where we won't speak, we hold it in, and we feel like nobody cares, nobody listens. Go to work, pay bills, take care of your family, shut up. And anything that we have that we hold in, we're not allowed to let that out. And I think a lot of it builds up, and we lash out in ways that are not great.
So as men, we can't be vulnerable.
That's
It's a sign of weakness too.
That's what society makes it feel like, that we can't have a heart, like we can't cry.
Right. Yeah.
We don't have feelings. It's take care of your family, do as your wife or your girlfriend or whatever says, take care of your kids. And that's that. But we hurt,
We do.
When you can't let that out, it tends to kind of turn inward towards yourself.
Faster than it turns into anger.
Yes.
And you lash out, and whether that be a domestic violence case or suicide or just some type of physical abuse or like breaking punch a door, like do whatever, but like outlets like need to be there to express feelings and not look at it like we're weak, but we're all human.
Absolutely.
We all have emotion. Nobody was ever born without emotion.
Right.
So it's okay to let that out, share it, cry. Like I'll cry in front of 1,000 people and it doesn't bother me because I'm human. Like it hurts. And it's okay. It's okay to say it hurts. It's okay to say it bothers you. It's okay to cry. And that's what needs to be expressed to all men. Like it's okay. Like you're not soft. You're not a baby if you grown man and you crying. It's a part of life. If something hurts, it hurts. Let the emotion take you to where it needs to be, because I feel like crying and expressing emotions is a part of healing. It's a part of getting through whatever you're going through.
So according to, I think it's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, 94% of Americans feel like suicide is something that we can, combat, that we can avoid. What things do you feel like through your foundation that you want to encourage people to do, whether that is talking, or do you feel like there's other ways that we can allow youth or people in general just to release their emotions, to express themselves?
Create safe spaces for that. Make it to where we have events to where that, like, I know I have some other speaking engagements I do, and I plan on like picking a kid and say, hey, talk to me. What's going on with you? Just making it easy for people to open up about their feelings and what they're going through, because nothing is worth this. Like we're all experiencing a human experience, until we move on from here. And it's a beautiful thing. like where we live, like, yeah, like who thinks about like life, paying bills your whole life and you have to work. That does suck. But outside of that, you're alive, you breathe, you experience, you can taste food, breathe air, feel love. And you need to be here to experience that. When you cut that short, you cut a hell of an experience that you could have had short. And so to know that, like, man, like, I come from nothing. Like, I come from like a very poor background. I grew up not having much. I got shoes 2 times a year. I didn't always have all utilities on in my house. When I was 12 years old, I was just like, it was horrible, but I'm 39 now. I pushed through it. And so these young kids, like to me, I'm living proof. Like success doesn't mean riches. Success to me is like, living.
You've been through.
I've been through a whole lot, and I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still strong. Like I always told people, my life, I swear it could be a movie. And the fact that I'm still here, everybody else can be too. It gets better. It gets better.
Absolutely. And, being from Southeastern Kentucky, I see a lot of that poverty and, just kind of all of those things that go into these struggles that people deal with on a daily basis. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add to the conversation that you feel like we haven't touched on yet?
I just, ultimately, the message that I'm trying to get out there is to talk to somebody, and I would love for it to be the parent, because I feel like the parent, it means more. Like when your father, your mother tells you they love you, you can instantly feel it different than when somebody on the street says they love you. That parent is genuine, and I just need everybody to have conversations openly. Tell your kids what you mean to them every day. Nobody thinks that when they walk out the house, everybody thinks they coming home. I told my son every day I seen his face, I told him I loved him. So there's not a shadow of doubt that he knew that I loved him. So I just need people to just talk to their kids and just be open and just don't be judgmental. Let them be who they're going to be.
And I work with a lot of teenagers and young adults, and I actually am seeing more and more parents coming in with them. And when you ask, okay, so what brought you in here? They're just saying, I wanted to make sure they had someone to talk to, someone neutral to talk to. And, some of them that are bringing them in, it's not that they're not close with their children. It's just that I do think there's some things we don't want to disappoint our parents. We don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So all of those things that come into play. And I know as a therapist, one of the things that I do kind of on a daily basis is figure out, like, how do you communicate those things to your parents in a way that they can help you?
Like, although say my childhood was rough, like my mom was like super open. I never felt like I couldn't go talk to my mom about nothing, whether that be somebody want to fight, a girl I liked, sex, like whatever. I always felt comfortable to go talk to my mom, no matter what we was going through, to be open about things. And I feel like that's what I had with my son, but he was battling some other things that I didn't know about till it was over. But looking back, it's no right or with what I'm going through is really no right or wrong. There was nothing I do know there's nothing I could have done because I didn't know. Right. And he was already had his mind made up. But if you, like you said, like coming in, like being like almost like a mediator, but at least they're there. They're coming, their parents involved, and that kid know that my mom, my dad they brought me here to help me. They care. They may not be able to give me the advice that I need, but they found somebody that can give the advice, and they came here with me. They didn't just put me in the Uber and send me to this. So I got to talk to this lady. They came with me. If you can't really do it, find the support and go support with your child. So I do think that's another positive way. If the parent don't know what to say, to take them to someone that can tell them.
And as someone that, started kind of seeing my own therapist when I was a teenager, when I was 16, I do think that, the younger you start, the better it is to get those coping mechanisms in, the easier it is for them to just grow around those skills and kind of incorporate them into their daily lives.
Yeah. No, seriously.
We appreciate you sharing your story. We were going to wrap up, I think. And as you know, the name of the podcast is IChampionHealth. So we ask each guest to fill in the blank. I champion health through blank. What would you put in the blank?
Conversations.
Powerful.
Conversation.
Yeah. That's where it starts. Conversations.
Yep. You don't know until you do.
Is there anyone you would like to give a shout out to for their efforts in championing health?
I shout out my family. Not only my son passed November, then my grandfather passed All-Star Week in February. So we've been all suffering. We took a couple big L's over the last 5 months.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a shout out to my family, my that's staying strong through this. And my son's mother, Japika Lattimore, who she's getting better. I see it. She's processing it, and his brothers. And I just want to shout out to them for staying strong through all of this, and us, small community, making sure we are good after this.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one message that you want listeners to take away from this conversation?
If I can, you can.
Powerful right there. If I can, you can. Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, Jermaine Dunn, again, man, we salute you, man, for coming in here today. You're very inspiring story. We know you're going to be going through a lot in your own life, you and your family, but I'm glad that you're finding ways to cope with the loss of your son, Cam. Long live 3.
Yes, sir.
Definitely will live on.
Yep.
Again, we want to thank our listeners and viewers. We want to thank our co-host, Bethany Williams, for coming in today. We appreciate you. Again, I'm your host, Gio Gibson, founder of the Operation Making a Change program. And this has been another episode of IChampionHealth Chats. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to IChampionHealth Chats. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit the follow button in your favorite podcast app and share with your community. You can connect with us by searching at IChampionHealth on social media or by emailing ichampionhealth@uky.edu. IChampionHealth is a collaboration between the University of Kentucky Prevent Alliance, Operation Making a Change, and the United Way of the Bluegrass. The IChampionHealth team encourages you to get vaccinated for COVID-19 and stay up to date with boosters. Vaccines are a safe and effective way to protect yourself and your community. This podcast was supported by funds made available by the Kentucky Department for Public Health's Office of Health Equity, from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for STLT, Public Health Infrastructure and Workforce, under RFA OT 21-2103. The contents of the podcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official position of or endorsement by the Kentucky Department for Public Health or the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.